Friends, I'm at the moment wearing my CMAI hat as the Chief Mentor of CMAI, Rahul Mehta. And we are starting off now. There are a few nameplates which are missing that will come in the short time. May I now request Harminder Sahani from Wazir Advisors to take over. He is going to moderate the entire panel. Harminder?
Thank you, Rahul Bhai, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to this panel discussion where we have a very interesting set of people here whom I have requested that they should introduce themselves as well as their business so that all of us have the context and know that who is speaking and where they're coming from. So we'll go from this side. Gautam, starting with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Gautam Saraugi. I'm the founder and CEO of Go Colors. We are a women's bottom wear brand based out of Chennai and have about 700 plus stores across India. We are predominantly into bottom wear, but now we are also extending to other categories of retail as well. So thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Nikhil Upadhyay. I'm the Managing Director for Benetton India. Well, the name needs no introduction, but certainly my name did. So brand is very well known to the country. We are one of the most familiar brands. We got fashion to this country. And not very big at scale today, but I think we are in that position where you will see tremendous action happening on this brand, and watch out for this brand. We are here for a long haul. So over to you, Venkat.
Nikhil, I couldn't agree with you more. Benetton is, you mentioned Benetton. I think there are very few people who would probably say it isn't top of mind. It's amazing. This is Venkatesalu. I'm the Managing Director for Trent. And as Rahul Bhai just a few minutes back told me, if you mention Trent, nobody knows. If you mention Westside and Zudio, a few more people know. So it's part of our portfolio, and look forward to being part of this conversation. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, who doesn't know Zudio? Who doesn't know Westside? So I'm Rahul Mehta, Chief Mentor of CMAI. I honestly don't know what I'm doing on this panel because I neither have a brand nor have $1 billion. But still, I used to run a few brands which were pretty successful in those good old days. And when I say good old days, I mean good old days. I started my career in garments in 1982. That was before some of you were born. But yes, CMAI has been doing wonderful work, and I'm glad to be associated with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul Bhai. You said that you don't have anything to do with the brand, but I am sure that you are instrumental in making the brands $1 billion brand. Good morning, friends. My name is Rajesh Jain. I am the Managing Director and CEO for India operations of Lacoste. Lacoste is an international premium lifestyle brand, and we run 82 points of sale in India. Across different categories, like it could be online, digital, offline stores, EBO, city retail, travel retail, all of them. Wherever a premium lifestyle brand can be there, we are there. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Siddharth Pindra. I'm the Managing Director of Biba Fashions Limited. We have two brands. We are in the women's ethnic space, Biba and Rangriti. We are close to around 400 stores. Excited to be here and look forward to the conversation. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Siddhant Keshwani, founder and CEO of Libas. So Libas essentially is India's first women's Indian wear fast fashion brand. And we started off as a digital e-commerce brand, now scaling up offline as well, opened 60 to 65 stores over the last 2 years, and scaling operations on the offline and the online side. Thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Shweta Agrawal. Firstly, thanks to the organizers for inviting me. I'm from the startup world, have spent almost 15 years in e-commerce and now last 5 years in international trade. I found a startup called Treadile where we have connected small manufacturers in India to global retailers, and now working on a cross-border B2C brand where we directly sell to customers abroad.
Hello, hi, good morning. I'm Maya and I'm the founder and creative director of Haute Couture. I've been working with international brands around 25 years now, and then I founded my own company called Haute Couture, which deals with all the international labels to bring them to India. And so we promote India as a manufacturing hub. I had my own label, and today I consult company and introduce Indian suppliers globally and Indian brands globally, and I help them, consult with them, and train them how to take their stuff globally. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Rahul bhai, if you allow, I'll speak from here. I think it's better to address everybody from here. So starting, Rahul bhai, with yourself only, while you say you don't have the brand, nor do you have the $1 billion, but I think you know the market far better than most of us. And I remember our first interaction, you may not even recall it, it was the late 90s at this hotel in Nehru Place. I forget what the name of the names keep changing. And the panel discussion was about Indian brands going global, right? And I was the one on that, young and foolish. So I made some comments about this thing, how can Indian brands even think of going global? And I didn't know Rahul bhai before that, and we came for lunch and he walked up to me and saying, Harvinder, how can you be so pessimistic, right? I was like, I'm saying what I'm saying is practical. He says, when we have these kind of discussions or these kind of meetings, it's about visioning, it's about dreaming, it's about thinking. तो आपने ऐसे बोल के ना मतलब pessimistic कर दिया सबको कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. So you should not talk like that. So yeah, lesson learned. So today when we are talking about $1 billion, one request is that we are Indians here, so no dollars, no billions. So 10,000 crore की बात करते हैं कि 10,000 crore का brand होना चाहिए. Till few years ago, we would have been here and still be talking, and I would have again come out practical thinking हो ही नहीं सकता. And thanks to Venkat being here, we all know that it can happen. Zudio has done it, Westside has done it. They are, I think, maybe top line of more than 20,000 crores now. So yeah, that's possible, and it's been done in India without going global. I'm sure they have ambition to go global there. And so with that, let me start with asking. So I'll do it in different segments. And the first part is about that, given that it's such a large Indian market, right, we have here, and now over the last, I would say, 3 decades, we have seen the ready-made garment industry has grown so much. And the Indian consumers, down to whichever tier we talk about, they are very conscious about how they look, what they wear, and they want to wear branded clothing. So a lot of opportunity is not about concept selling anymore. That's been sold, that you should wear branded clothes, you should wear fashion of the season, you should wear the styling, and all of that is done. And still, I think we seem to be, as a fashion industry, seem to be somewhere struggling to get the more wallet share. Just to give you a data, and I think data in India, like today everywhere in the world, is a little bit suspect, but bear with me. So in tier 2000 or so, if you look at the consumer pie, we used to do a study called Consumer Outlook back then, and consumer pie, whatever the money consumer has, disposable income, what they spend on various things other than the housing, transfer, etc. So fashion share used to be around 8.5%. And our estimate is this number in 2025 has fallen to 6.5%. Why did that happen? And was the deflation, I think, is one of the biggest reasons. It's not that the number of units which are selling are less, but I think deflation is one of the reasons. And that's where I think maybe Venkat, if you could comment on this, that how do you see the Indian fashion market? Now, I'm talking about what has happened in the last 20, 30 years. How do you see 20, 30 years going forward, right? The way India is changing, the way the numbers should play out, or the way India is either becoming less fashionable or more fashionable, all of that, just if you could give your comments on this.
So, yeah, Harminder, you were right. I think in the 1990s also we were discussing almost the same subject. Why has Indian brands not really grown? I don't think the situation has changed too much, except that the numbers have changed. And at least today, I can say that I have an opportunity to sit next to somebody who has done $1 billion. So and that's a big change from what was in 1990.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it deserves recognition.
I think 2 or 3 reasons why we are where we are. Number one, I think historically the industry has been extremely fragmented, and therefore whilst the total industry, the total size of the market, which as per CMAI's latest market study is about $98 billion. So the total size of the industry is impressive, but the per capita consumption is still very low. I guess 2 or 3 reasons. Number one, of course, that it is only now that we have started talking about India shining, India growing, India glowing, the per capita incomes are growing up, the economy is growing. But till now, we were still in the stage of development, and therefore, the common Indian had many more priorities to meet and to satisfy before he or she went on to buy more clothes. So I think that is one of the reason. The second reason I think is the Indian consumer psyche of trying to stretch whatever he or she buys to its maximum level. So it's not that, I buy a t-shirt today and after 6 months, nahi yaar, ye to style theek nahi hai, let me buy another one. But they will try and extend it. In fact, in one of the other seminars, I was talking about recycling and circularity. I think Indians are past masters at that. If you remember, if say a kurta or a pajama or garment, once we outgrow them or they become old or they become spoiled, then we convert them into pochas. We clean our shoes, we clean our stuff with them. And when it becomes too dirty even for that, then we make them into nadas and to tie our pajamas. So we keep trying to extend the life of our products. So that's another reason why I think our per consumption is low, per capita consumption. And I guess the third reason is that a large portion till recently was still dominated by the traditional Indian wear. And I'm not talking about just kurta pajamas, but I'm talking about, I'm talking about dhotis and, saris and so on, which don't normally be counted as part of the fashion industry. So I guess these three factors have contributed to it.
Right.
But the things are changing now very rapidly. I'll leave it to the experts to talk about the future.
Just the 98 billion number which you said, it's like almost 8 lakh crores we are talking about. The first ever India industry sizing I had done back in 99, the number was 47,500. So 27 years, even if you take it 50,000, round it off 16 times in 27 years, 26 years, I think it's a huge industry. And fragmented most definitely, Rahul Bhai, but I think there's a opportunity. Fashion, I think, remains fragmented. I think it's good for the consumer point of view. If you look at it, the more products, more fashionability, all of it. So yes, there will be larger players coming, and there are many players. I remember we used to track which will be the first 100 crore brand in this country. So either I should retire because I talk about old times too much, or otherwise people can take it that I can show you that how the world looked like. So first 100 crore brand itself was a big deal. Blackberries was struggling at 50-60 crores. So लगता था निखिल को कि भाई कैसे भी 100 crore हो जाए हरविंदर, we are done. Because they were one of the startups in a way. Really look at college boys out of college launched their brand and built a brand which today I think is around 1400 crores. Yeah. So fragmentation I am not too worried about. I personally think we should not become like Americans. So to some extent Europeans की सभी H&M, Zara और Uniqlo ही पहनना है. Let there be many more brands. Thank you.
Harminder, I think the argument that you made about 100 crores today being whatever it is in terms of reference points for us is so true. The reality is, Rahul Bhai talked about circularity in some form, the reuse of everything that's wired into our system. I remember still my mom used to collect, middle class India was very interesting, if you went back over the decades. She used to not even throw away the plastic wrappers from the milk packets. And that was wired into the ecosystem. The reason this whole thing of looking back and looking forward is relevant, I do think, Harminder, is because there's been dramatic shifts that have happened over the last several decades in the wiring of how, quote unquote, India thinks about fashion. And,
Right.
it was not like our grandmothers were not fashionable. That was not true. They were very fashionable. If you just, replay in your own head, what did your grandmom look like, whichever side it was, the probability was she was in a sari most of the time. The probability was she was very imaginative in the way she dressed up. And the probability was that she had all kinds of variations in terms of fabric, in terms of design, in terms of choices that she would make basis occasions. And the next phase came where the sari became too much of an effort. The next generation effectively said, listen, this salwar kurta feels like, let's go to something which is much more easier to wear. And the sari became more of an occasion wear. And in the Tata Group, we have both Taneira as well as our brands. So we kind of straddle in some ways the thinking process on it. And if we go one generation further in the kind of generations that we are serving currently, clearly it's become, even salwar kurta has become more occasion wear, more elevated. It's become more biba. And so that it's interesting. The one point that I keep getting asked, completely anecdotal, but many, many times, why can't you guys do as well as Biba does? So it's because there is a certain aspirational association with salwar kurta now. And the current generation is primarily fusion and far more liberal and far more convenience, far more trend orientated. Why is that playing out? And it's seismic. I do think, Harminder, if you look at long-term trends, you have to pay a girl to wear a sari today.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And that's because she is clearly saying, I want the convenience and the comfort and the ease of doing it. I'm not going to turn around and do it just because it was the trend. And doesn't mean that she does not, appreciate the attractiveness of a sari at the right moment once in a year. And these structural long-term trends, my bet, Harminder, will continue to play out. So there is that's one point I would make. The second I would make is clearly with exposure. I think this whole bit about metro versus non-metro versus tier 3s, etc., is slowly but surely blurring. The customer is as exposed to the latest trends in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4s as she is in the metros. And it has huge consequences. One of the things about our industry is its low entry barriers, so it's fragmented. Right. The power is all in the hands of the customer, which is great. But it is also true that when you get it right, you now have a much wider audience.
Right.
For instance, Gautam probably sees that, you can address it with a trend, with a proposition, a much larger audience today because it's far less fragmented from a trend perspective.
Right. They're homogenized too.
They're getting homogenized at some level in terms of exposure, and the willingness to explore is very high. The last one I would put on table is the aspirational part of it. You talked about volumes have grown much more than value and is there deflation. I guess there is some story to this. The fact that the industry is so fragmented and everybody wants to address India. For instance, take Benetton. Benetton does not have small ambitions for India, I'm sure. The reality is, if you have a 1.4 billion population and you have an audience or rather a proposition where every brand wants to make a difference in India, then you have serious amounts of competition trying to address this 1.4 billion opportunity.
Right.
Now, when you have that, you're going to have a way better proposition available at lower and lower prices. I'm exaggerating economics 101. People are going to compete and try and say, I'm going to be relevant. Yeah. Now, high aspiration, great exposure levels, high aspiration, and great amounts of appetite to address the Indian market, put all together, you get the result, I would argue, what you talked about. You get volume growth significantly. It's not that the prices have gone down, but the quality and the proposition has gone up, is what I would put on the table. So I guess broadly three themes which are possibly playing around in us. One is that there is a long-term structural trend that's playing out. Secondly, I do think we need to probably think about why we are getting the level of homogeneity for trends because of the exposure levels. And third, why are we getting far more volume growth than value growth in this industry? So some thoughts.
Absolutely. So I think one of the points you made in terms of our grandparents or even parents, they also used to dress quite deliberately. But the problem is all pictures are black and white. So I think we don't get the sense of their fashionability. But so we must assume that they were wearing colorful, nice clothes all the time, and they were
very complimentary to your grandparents, but it never
right. Siddharth, we just I think veered into all this women's side of the fashion of it. So maybe you could come in and so very specifically what I'll ask you is that so we used to do a very simple thing that from you make your own and across categories, whether it's the food or whether it's the clothing or whether it's a lot of other stuff, make your own to you say that now, let's say take a formula of example of a chips. We can make it at home. People used to make it at home, and then it came into, we can buy it from a street corner halwai, which is like on an open thing he's making it, and you'll buy that. And I say, no, it's not hygienic, we are now better off, so we can buy it in a packet, or simple non-branded plastic packet. Then he went into a branded package, and then went into, again opened up, and now it's being served in restaurants. So all products are going through that evolution in India, and many have already gone, and many more will go. People used to make even soap at home. If you go back pre-independence time, they will buy the chemicals and make it at home, fat and all. So all that is happening, but this whole part, at the same way we say that that's how the value add will happen, right? Somebody makes it for you, somebody packs it for you, somebody brands it for you, somebody retails it for you, somebody serves it to you. So there should be, the value should be going up on that. I think somewhere this step when came into the branding part of it, we reached till that point, then it started plateauing. And you will know, you have been in business for more than 25 years, I guess, that how the prices used to go up and how the prices have stopped going up. So while Venkat's point in terms of a lot of players wanting to be relevant, wanting to compete, but somewhere I think the value chain, there is a challenge. Like this jacket I'm wearing is not a ready-made one, so but still taking an example, if I were to buy this even 15 years ago at a BlackBerry store, a linen jacket or a Louis Philippe, I will pay more price than what I'm paying today for the same jacket. 15 years down the line, what happened? So deflation, only from that point of view I'm coming to that. What happened that consumers are spending so much more money on so many other things. You'll go and buy a phone for 1 lakh, which again is not like buying a TV now for 20 years it will go. We're not even paying 1 lakh for a TV at any point of time before the 1 lakh phone came in. And now we are doing that. So women fashion, that's where aspirational, all of that. So what do you think is going on?
You know, I think I'm a absolute optimist on the fashion industry. I think that's what has kept me in the industry for so long, and I look forward to a longer innings still. So I think with the entire growth story, the GDP, the number of people, the incomes increasing, etc., people are always going to wear clothes. That's not going out anywhere.
Yeah, no argument.
Yeah, no argument on that. And I think as you have more income, more occasions, more stuff, you will land up consuming more.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the onus is on the brands. How do you get people to pay more? So, you know, while we are saying there is a price thing, today you have, in my category, you have bridal stuff selling for 10 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees. You still have to go and wait. You have those businesses that were 10, 20 crores, which are a few hundred crores of revenue today.
Right.
So there are so many multi-departmental stores come up selling ethnic wear at 40, 50,000. So I think as a brand, where do you want to position? You can't straddle everything. And I think India is today a big enough market for all ambitions. If you're looking at buying that linen jacket for 20,000 rupees, you probably have an X size of market. I think it's important to collaborate your ambition with what the current size of the market is and how you can do it. I think successful brands can help create the category and also grow the category. You know, it doesn't, if it looks like it's growing at 10%, I think if a successful brand takes the initiative, you're always able to grow it. I think brand is about storytelling. You've got to create a demand. An Apple Watch, you didn't think you needed it. You don't think you need half the stuff on it. And once you start using it, so there is a very strong product. but also a very strong story associated with it. So I think that same narrative moves on with the fashion business and the garment business. You know, one thing that does is I also look at sometimes the price I'm buying fabric at, the price I'm doing stuff at, and it's the same 5 years. So it does beat me on the whole raw material bit. I keep, and the businesses continue to make money also down the line and up the line. So it's either a productivity gain that keeps allowing, because the level of inflation at the is there, but doesn't seem to, prices don't go up at the rate of inflation. So I think all of us have higher ambition of driving volume and growth, and in that ambition, you're not able to take that price. So there is some cutoff that one has to take on both of it.
So rest all the money remains the same. I think the line item in terms of the brand building, I think that's one which has disappeared for most of the P&L accounts. There's not enough money being spent on. Imagine Friday dressing, Alan Solly, amount of money they spent in the launch year. Today those numbers will look small. Right, they spent 7 crores in launching that. It will look very small, but 7 crores in those days, talking 90s, like a serious amount of money. At the launch of the brand, they are spending that kind of money just to let the world know. There's a brand called Alan Solly and it's for Friday dressing, and see what it did to the brand over the next few years. So I think that's the line item which is missing. So everybody, supplier as well as the brand, are making money, but that's gone.
Yeah, I think you have to look at it as also as an investment. Branding is an investment. It's not just an expense.
That's what I'm saying. That's the money. So why we say that all the money is still people are making money, because that's gone, disappeared. How many ads do we see on TV for fashion? Hardly any. I think last World Cup time, I called up Ashish and said, thankfully now we are seeing some brands on TV from your portfolio. Otherwise, for years, you didn't see any fashion brand on TV. I think they also had taken a call that they need to do all of that and gone out of way to spend money, and the numbers are not looking so great because of that reason only. But yeah, that's been the case.
But I wouldn't judge brand spending by just the place where they are spending it, because I think TV is probably not relevant for fashion. No, I'm just saying, I think the kind of spend there, but fashion brands are spending a lot of money on the digital space of it.
Percentage-wise, dekha humne numbers. So
sorry?
Percentage-wise, numbers have shrunk, right? The people are not spending that. In crores, it may be the same as you were doing 7 years ago, but as a percentage not being spent. Just taking a minute on that, I was telling somebody last night also, in fashion how it works. The old ad of Rin, somebody who walks out of home and walks into the lift wearing a very nice white shirt, very happy with himself. The moment he walks into the lift, then there's a guy who's wearing a whiter shirt, and he says, "Bhala uski kameez, meri kameez se safed kaise?" That's how the whole fashion industry, I think, has to do something like, you make people feel bad about what they're wearing today, so that they can't go, they should go and buy something more. So I think that's not happening enough. So that's limited.
Sure.
Sure, Nikhil.
Thanks, Siddharth. So, we have this constant conversation in our organization at Benetton. And there are two concepts about, what Venkat said and to what Siddharth from Biba just mentioned. What we firmly believe is that the hierarchy of demand in this country is blurring. When I say hierarchy of demand, means the classical segmentation of a EBO, LFS, MBO. The hierarchical construct of demand is vanished. Brands who believe in this hierarchy will never become billion-dollar brands. There is a consumer, there's a tier 1 consumer in all the tiers of this country. So if I talk about Benetton, my job is to get to all the tier 1 consumers across Delhi. So Delhi is a multiplicity of tier 5 to tier 1. Bombay is a tier 5 to tier 1. The consumer is tier 1. The city doesn't make a difference to me. Yeah. I am looking at a tier 1 consumer in all the cities in India, or maybe in Southeast Asia as well. Right. The second big thing, which which I agree with Siddharth is, and which we have to learn from the automotive trade is, our job as organizations is to build brands, is to get consumers on board. Why don't we leverage the back end together? If Invictus and High Cross can be produced on the same platform and drive $1 billion sale, why can't a Benetton, a Levi's, a Pepe, maybe the Madura team, we all sync up and have a strong sourcing network? Imagine the inefficiencies that can be rooted out by just being collaborative. I think the era of symbiotic competition is coming in. If we are not symbiotic, we can never get to a profitable $1 billion journey. The transactional cost of incremental gain, as I was talking to our CFO today morning, that it is getting more difficult for us to get into newer markets, acquiring newer consumers, because the transactional costs are very high. But these transactional costs can be subsidized if there is symbiotic competition. Yes. So since there are a lot of industry leaders sitting over here, I would request if we can all get together and start thinking more togetherness on the back end and more fights on the front end. I think there is a solve to reach $1 billion profitably. That's my sense.
Absolutely. And a very interesting point. So first point which you made is on that the brand needs to be channel agnostic. Absolutely. Right? You don't need to worry about that where you are selling from. As long as your consumer is there, you need to be present there. Right? Yeah. So coming Siddharth to you. You are also Siddharth. Siddhant. I'm sorry about that. So Siddhant, so on the channel part which we are talking about, because you also taken multi-channel route which you have taken, and I think Biba has taken that. I think majority of Biba sale is coming through on 400 stores, right? What will be the? We are around 70% off. 70%. Okay, so but in the physical space it will be mostly your own stores and some LFS. Or do you have LFS there? Yes, we do. Yeah. So when we talk about this multi-channel, because I think on the FMCG and the other sectors, this multi-brand retail is still very, very strong and this happens. But in case of fashion, is there enough room, let's say from a channel choice point of view? Either you have the EBOs or you have the LFS and you are done. So how does, let's say, take this point forward on the channel agnostic being part? Do you think still it is the EBO which has to take there? Well, Nikhil point is to become $1 billion, maybe difficult taking that route.
So, our belief about, the channel discussion is very different. We feel that today we live in a day and age where the same consumer is at their different cycles in life is consuming a brand through different channels. We believe that it's the same consumer who on a busy weekday from office wants to shop online. It's the same consumer on a weekend wants to go out with the family and shop from a store. It's the same consumer who probably has a last minute requirement and are consuming quick commerce. So we feel that it's the same consumer who's accessing brands through different channels. And we as brands, we are an e-commerce digital first brand, right? Why we started offline? Purely, because we felt that the consumer who's shopping from us online, we have a massive consumer base. Now that same consumer, when they're actually going out and consuming offline, we are not available, right? So whatever customer acquisition cost or whatever I did online, I'm losing all that because now he has to go and consume some other brand. Right. So we come with that thought process that in today's time, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Wherever consumer is going, we have to follow through and we have to be there. Right. We have to make that whole journey for a consumer so seamless that today he might be buying online, suddenly wants to go and exchange or their size in a store. They should be allowed to do that, right? I think the future of retail is going to be ease. It's going to be about speed, how fast and how easily we can reach our consumers and the consumers can reach us.
And the proximity too, let's say in terms of, given the traffic situation and the micro markets growing all of it, do you see that the consumers, earlier, let's say the view on organized retail used to be destination, like mall is a destination, or then there'll be outside city, there'll be destination, large box, all of it. So is that micro market thing will play in fashion also, that people would like to shop within 2-3 kilometers of, we are seeing that happen in Bangalore and Gurgaon, these two places definitely it's happening.
So as we'll see that, within every city, especially like when you mentioned Bangalore, there are now so many newer pockets of retail. Like Bangalore alone, we are planning like 40 stores. Right. So I'm saying that's the kind of density that a city like Bangalore has. People want access, speed. They want brands to be as close to them as possible. And we've seen that even a large box like today, like a Zudio or a Westside, we've seen such massive stores and penetrating so much of one city. Earlier we would see such a large box retail, we're probably having 1 or 2 stores in a city, right? But now any pin code that you take, you'll find a Westside store or a Zudio store within 3 to 4 kilometers. So I think that's how retail is kind of innovating, and it's going to be about how fast you can reach your consumers.
Do you see yourself becoming 10,000 crore or $1 billion brand?
Us? I think in the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully, yes. So,
wow.
No, so we've in the last 3 years, we've come from 150 crore revenue to 1,000 crore run rate now this year. And once you crack the model, I think the consumption in India is so massive. It's just about understanding your consumer and how fast you can reach them. we proudly say as a company that we might not be the best fashion company, but we are the fastest at whatever we do. So I think that's that's the differentiating factor for us. That's how fast fashion, works, and we're trying to execute the same across this value chain.
10 on 10 for the answer.
Sorry?
10 on 10 for the answer, I'm saying.
Thank you.
Because once you have cracked the model, like we have seen in case of Zudio, after that, why should there be anything stopping? Because the market is offering itself. I think that is something where, in fact, one of the points which I wanted to discuss with you, maybe short on time, is that cracking the concept itself and building that brand pull and the brand equity. I think companies have gone more transactional because of the fragmentation of the market. They haven't put enough time. So seeing from quarter to season that how much sale we are getting, are we making money or not, focus went on that. I think e-commerce has a lot to do with it because of discounting and all came in. But I think we are coming out of that phase and coming back to this thing, and great to see that the way you are looking at these numbers. So good luck with that. Yeah, you were wanting to add something.
I just want to add that, of course, all of us know about the Biba brand. And when we want to buy something, we just go there. But then today, brands are not just about stores or just online. It has to have multi-purpose omni-channels, and it's all about building that aspiration with the consumer, because the competition so much with so many brands, especially home brands coming up with. So we have to find new ways to get the customer, engaged by storytelling, by community building, by click and collect. Just like today, I want to have a wedding and I want to wear something, so I just press a button and I get a Biba at home. So I think these are the few gaps that we have to address to get the customer engaged. And when I think of something, when that engagement is there, I just think of Biba if I'm a loyal customer. So it's not just about having an offshore or a store or online, but it's about consumer engagement, and that's how you build the loyalty. I wanted everything at my convenience. Even though I'm a Biba loyal customer, if I find something else easily to be getting, my attraction is getting there. So it's all more than about channels or presence. We have to see how we have to get our consumer engaged and attracted. Yes, because our aspirations are all different. We are all engaged to the online, and we want everything at ease. So I'm lazy to go to the store, or I'm lazy to even go through the pages, but I like something and I click something, I get it at my place. That's what, that convenience is attracting us. So all of us, all the big brands. So you're
saying you will even shift the brand just because the other
Yes. I won't need something, and I have no time, because most of us are working. I may have planned, but I may not have the time. So at last moment, I get something easier and at my house, so I will go for it, even though I'm a Biba loyal customer.
Making me very nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Please jump in.
So I have slightly different thoughts. I think what Siddhant said and what I'm sorry, I'm not getting it. Yeah, so she said, I think I would, I guess when we look at only the omni-channel or multi-channel, that alone is not sufficient to make any brand a billion-dollar brand, and I'm sure that Venkat and Siddhant both would agree with me. See, what I feel is that in India, we don't have any shortage of entrepreneurship, creativity, or consumer. What we actually need is a greater consistency to make the brands and not the businesses for short terms. And if we see across India, we have so much of youth population. We are one of the fastest growing markets, which has so many aspirational customers also who want to go premium, also want to take every kind of thing. But yet we don't have too many brands which can be called global brands or billion-dollar brands. We have very few of them as we speak today. Now, in my view, what happens there is not only that omni-channel perspective. I normally look at it from 5 angles. 5 C's is how I call it. So one is the consumer. We have so many consumers today across all positioning, whether it is value, premium, or even luxury. We have decent customer base now. We have to ensure that we understand that consumer psychology, what they want. And unless and until we deliver that, the consumer will never come back to us. Second is, which is extremely important in addition to what we are just talking about, the omni-channel perspective, is consistency. You have to be omni-channel. You have to be wherever your customer is. But at the same time, you must provide consistency. There are several brands who are not able to provide that consistency. You go to online, it is a different merchandise. You go offline, it's a different merchandise. Travel retail is different, MBO is different. In my view, there should be one brand, one voice. So that consistency is extremely important. You need to keep on innovating at the same time. Creativity is extremely important. Unless until you understand what customers want in terms of innovation and adapt to that, it's extremely difficult to get to that $1 billion mark. Now, two more important things apart from this to attract the customer. One is culture. I am sure that Venkat's brand or Siddhant's brand, they're not building the brands for themselves or for like Siddhant is a co-owner, Venkat is a professional. But these businesses are not being built only for the founders, only for those who are started the brand. The brands need to outlive the founders. And because of that, those brands will grow and outnumber any other brands in the country. Fifth, the most important part is what I feel is capital. Unless and until you have capital for long term, when we talk about the private equity players, etc., normally they look at very short term, about 5 years, 7 years kind of a thing, which is a short term to create a $1 billion brand. You need serious capital and for seriously long term. In my view, unless until you combine all these 5 C's, it's very difficult to build any brand for $1 billion, whether in India or globally, unless you have all these things mixed out there.
No, I agree with you all the points. She wants to add something. I'll just say on the capital part, I think capital came into fashion industry way sooner than many other companies actually, right? So I think it's still, whenever we talk to the investors, they're all very excited about the fashion industry, and I think they're coming back in multiple ways, and there are a lot of success stories, but in between there was a thaw. I think for 7-8 years there was something nobody wanted to even talk about fashion at all, but I think now they come back in a big way. And there the ambitions are on the similar lines because they are also backing those people.
It has to be for long term also. It can't be for 5 or 7 years also to build the brand.
I think that industry also, I think those people also, we give them credit because they were also like a startup 20 years ago. They also matured while they were funding startups. They themselves were. I think it's a lot of maturity which has come in. And good for, just point I'm making is that our interaction with most of the investors, what we see is they're very excited about the industry. They're looking for the players to bet on, and they're looking for players who have much larger ambition, which truly should be the case. And I think reason being Zudio's success is definitely one of the cases, but there are multiple other cases. And now Siddhant's number or Biba's number, if you look at, when did you get your first investment, Siddhant? How big were you in terms of revenue? Just
I got my first raise in 2007. Kishore Kishorji was my first investor.
Capital,
And we were a 30 crore revenue business. We had no capital. We only raised 12 crores that time.
Right.
That was largely the only primary capital I raised.
Yes.
Because when Warburg Pincus came in 2013. But you know, I think capital is easily available.
Yeah.
And honestly, if capital comes in, 5 to 7 years is a reasonable horizon.
Yeah.
You should be able to grow that business enough in 5 years or 7 years where you are able to attract a new set of investors, either private or public.
And how big is your brand today?
Mine? We are close to around, at the net sale level, around 800 crores.
So from 30 crores to 800, almost 30 times in 20 years, right, with 12 crore capital.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to take a moment to absorb the number. ठीक टाइम पे 12 करोड़ पे मिल गए तो क्या हो गया देखिए and no more capital needed, right?
I kind of agree with him that the
sorry, I just finished one thing.
I'm sorry.
Is I think also in the fashion business, a brand must make money at some point.
Yeah.
You can have a certain scale, but I think the concept of the brand would be you're able to charge some additional premium for the services you're providing. And a successful fashion business after a certain scale wouldn't require so much of capital. Of course, if you're looking at a 5-10x in 2-3 years, that's different.
Yeah.
But you should be able to hit a certain profitability at some point of time. It could be different for different people.
You've done 30 times, you need to do just 10 more times now. So easy.
Sure.
Please, let her.
Yeah, please. No, please carry on.
No, she wanted to make a point. Otherwise, it will go away.
Yeah, so just stepping back and, from where we started, like you said, I believe India has always been fashionable. It is still very fashionable. Whether it's our grandmothers or mothers who believed in Sola Shringar, beauty,
Right.
India has always been so forward. Or today, if you look at the young generation, be it women and men, They are very, very fashionable. In fact, I think most of you would agree, all of us have like 10 wardrobes. There is a casual, there is formal, there is party wear, there is ethnic for like festivals, there is ethnic for weddings. So there is just so much diversity in our wardrobes. So I believe that there are a lot of opportunities in India, but yes, we are not capturing them well. One, because a lot of the high quality demand is actually going to global brands. People are buying Uniqlo, people are buying Marks and Spencer's, H&M, etc. There are great examples like Westside, Biba, Libas. You know, I've been like a customer for 20 years for some of these brands. So I believe that this high quality segment is one that is still very less crowded, and there is a lot of opportunity for those brands within India and also outside India if we are able to deliver that kind of quality consistently. The second is that there's this whole fragmented segment of micro niches. For example, party dresses. If you look at Myntra, all of the party dresses are coming from China, and they have delivery times of like 20, 30 days, and people wait for those dresses. So why is nobody in India making those? And there are many such niches. And once in a while, brands come up and they take those segments, like Pant Project, they came and made comfortable pants. And they've grown well, and there are many such examples. So we need to...
Bombay Shirt Company for that.
Yes. So... yeah. So we have so many such examples, and we need more of such innovative brands which capture both the niche and the high quality segment.
Absolutely. Just to make a point about the multinationals taking the share, Rahul, by across segments, fashion industry is the one where the multinationals have lowest amount of market share. You think of any other category, they have much more share. Fashion industry, they have the lowest market share. So I think we must give credit to our domestic brands for defending the turf.
But we need more of them for sure.
No, just one observation. You spoke about your grandmother. She spoke about the Indian lady, maybe her mother and her grandmother. Nobody's talking about the grandfathers. As probably the only grandfather in this auditorium. When we were young, there were only two sets of fashions. In the south, there was white shirt and white lungi.
Right.
That was fashionable. And in the north was checked shirt and striped trousers.
Yeah.
So that was the type of fashion knowledge that we men had. So I think, at least I definitely don't agree that we were fashionable right from the beginning. Yes, Indian women certainly were very fashionable,
no doubt
very
about
charming.
That. But just qualification, I think when you talk about India and we talk about North India, I think that you have to come to North India, to the western part of North India. And then I will say that men were very, very fashionable and stylish even back then. So we used to have custom-made shirts and the pathanis even at that point. So I call it circle of fashion. Tailor-made se chale the, abhi custom-made pe aa gaye. So just paying too much money for the same thing, but in between ready-made, branded, pura cycle ho gaya. But yes, it's a fact that overall, and we have been thinking about it, and all, but we don't know how will we crack it. Maybe you can also the fashionability index for Indian markets. In different cities, different state, different city, we want to do a fashionability index on that, because I think India is not very homogeneous that way, that people are more fashionable at some places and they spend far larger wallet share on the clothing than they do in certain part of the country. I think the brands have a Future Group at one point of time used to go into that kind of a deeper research, but now I don't think anybody is doing
The point is, before you start having a fashionable index, you need to define what is fashionable.
wahi to question
So,
hai, wahi nahi ho raha.
I think nobody seems to have yet understood what is fashionable.
Yeah. No, they will find an answer to that. That's a challenge. We'll find an answer to that problem.
See, I think also it's as a brand, if you want to be $1 billion brand and gain more market share, is whether you can sell to the daughter, the mother, and the grandmother. Like a dear friend of mine runs Snitch, Siddharth from Snitch. And the one thing that happened in a Snitch store was my father went. He bought something for himself. I also bought.
Right.
And probably my 16-year-old nephew also will buy. I think how a brand extends over a period of time across generations. that's what really defines a brand going from, say, a $500 million business to maybe a $1 billion business.
Right.
Is how do you stay relevant for a 15-year-old, a 40-year-old, and maybe older?
Right.
And to Siddhant's point on offline retail, I think offline retail is moving away from neighborhood shopping. I think today, when a consumer is wanting to buy offline, they want an experience to buy at a big store. The entire concept of having small retail stores at a neighborhood level is actually moving away towards experience centers. Because today, everything being available on e-com and quick-com, what is the hook to get a customer into an offline store? It's the experience and size. So actually, today, from a density perspective, you're better off having, say, 20 large stores versus 50 small stores in a particular city.
Right.
Today's customer maybe would travel that extra 1.5 kilometers to have a better experience in offline shopping.
Or simply go to quick commerce.
Exactly. Otherwise, if you're going to have a small store every neighborhood, why would that customer visit that small store?
Yeah. See, from a brand point of view, a small and large, I think definition will differ. But here the point is that globally, if you look at the market, has gone two ways. Either the brands or the brands which are retail-led. Let's say Uniqlo or Primark or all these people or Zara, everybody is like retail-led brands. And then you had brands, American brands and some of the European brands, which are like brands, who mostly used to sell through wholesale, or otherwise they will have their EBOs. When they came to markets like India, wholesale was not the possibility because there were very few department stores, so they had to go the brand way. I think somewhere there is still this thing is going on in India. So let's say Snitch or for that matter Zudio would like to go that retail-led brand business, while at the same time, let's say Libas or Aviva or for that matter Louis Philippe, they still would like to have those small stores and lead the brand way. I think this does will remain. India is still, I see it as a melting pot of all these concepts, while Europe and US, they took their position and that's how it went. But I think India is still evolving. And I think we'll keep running with both. I don't think there's going to be a one winner. It's a very interesting market. We carry everything together with that. But what's your experience just further on that? Let's say when Go Colors as a brand, very unique, where it stands and where it started
our experience was, our model has pivoted. So we used to open 200, 300 square feet stores every 1.5, 2 kilometers.
Talked about 65 square feet also.
Yeah, that's where we started as a kiosk. And we've, like a city like Bombay, we have about 80, 85 stores.
Right.
In Delhi, we have about 60, 65 stores. What we've realized is that today, a 200, 300 square feet store does not do justice to the range we carry. Today, when we've opened larger stores, we've seen that the sales per square feet, the unit economics is making a lot more sense than even our pocket stores, which used to be 200, 300 square feet. So we are pivoting to a model where we're shutting 3 small stores and opening 1 or 2 large stores. And we've seen that the customers are migrating to the large stores automatically. So our experience has been that future of vanilla retail, single brand retail, is going to be more experience centers than neighborhood shopping, is what we've seen recently.
So I agree with Gautam to an extent about people moving to bigger stores, and we've seen the same experience. But how we are seeing the future of retail is that, for example, today if somebody wants access and speed, people would go to quick commerce, people would go to a nearby store. But when they want an experience, when they want assortment, wider assortment, probably 5,000 SKUs, like we carry 10,000 SKUs online at any given point of time. So people will continue to shop online on e-commerce. If they want a shorter, quick assortment, then they'll go to quick commerce. Similarly for offline, I think when they have the time, probably there's an event or a function and a planned purchase, like, where you want to go specially for shopping and explore multiple brands, they would want to go to get that experience for a larger store. But there are some cases where, just going to quickly drive down 10 minutes away and, pick up from your neighborhood mall, for example. Hence, we've seen some great success in neighborhood malls lately, especially in the corporate zones, etc., where there is a limited amount of population, but those malls are really, really doing well. In some cases, even better than the more popular and the much bigger malls. So that's how we are kind of doing.
I think earlier also made the point, and you, Nikhil, also made the point, the brand has to, and she made the point that how the brand shift can happen just because you are not available in that channel. I think the brand always first have the top of mind and the mind share, and then actually be available. Right, wherever it takes you. I don't think one has to conclude anything here, but I think see where the consumer is going, where they're behaving. I think it will remain very, very fluid, and one size fits all will not work. And the point I was making on the fashionability, because earlier we said the consistency which you were talking about. I think India being such a large market, and the point came in between. I've met Liz Clavon in 2013 or 14. I was in their office. And we were just talking about the micro segments in market, and they showed me they had 17 women's wear brand. And I could be completely off. Just to build a story, bear with me, I'm making an exaggerated point here. They had a brand for a East Coast suburban woman in the age group of 30 to 40, a non-working white woman. They had a brand for her, right? Micro segmenting to that level. They had 17 women's brand, not only Liz Claiborne, other than that, they had 17 brands at that point of time. Will India go that way? Or will we look for consistency and homogeneity? I think it will come. They were also multi-billion dollar with a bouquet of brands, and the single brand could be. I think many of you will take this path and many others will take the other path. Eventually will land there. Gautam, I want to ask you, do you see yourself as 10,000 crore?
Well, eventually, yes. Difficult to give a timeline, but eventually, definitely. No,
I didn't ask for the timeline.
No, I get asked internally a lot. Okay. कि हम वो number कब पहुँचेंगे? So I'm being diplomatic here, but eventually, definitely, yes.
Right.
One time in life, for sure.
Arvinder, before you get him into further trouble, his father is sitting here who's going to control all the purses. So be careful what you make him commit.
तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ सर इसको उड़ने दो थोड़ा बहुत छोटा है अभी right so Nikhil Benetton has been in India for how long?
We are here for 38 odd years now. 30 odd years. So to your point, I think can you hear me, guys? Okay. So to your point, I think we should have been at least 1.5 to 2 more times where we are than where we are today. I think to everyone's point, I think we lost the consumer in a big way. And I think coming back to the classic definition of the brand lost its focus on being true to itself, and we followed Zara, we followed H&M, we got trapped by the quick fashion or whatever thing. But I think going back to the roots, the concept of refounding is what is impacting us positively now. And we are seeing good traction in our premium high-end clothing. And if we are true to the brand, I think $1 billion is not a dream. It's very much in the reach. And I think consistency, to everyone's point, is extremely key for us. But we do acknowledge that we are not where we were supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it, you said the loss of consumer, but is there any, I'm just asking that being managed as a multinational from elsewhere, does it constrain your growth that way, or let's say the head offices or the powers to be, they let you make your own plans?
I don't see that we are constrained by any handicaps from headquarters per se, because we are a very, very independent company.
Right.
As in we have our own sourcing, we have our own HR, own marketing. We are not influenced by any. It's just that how we approach the Indian market determines our own destiny. So I think that approach needs to be refined in a different way. And a sharper segmentation will take us through.
So why I asked is that do the people back home, do they see India as serious as a market where
they do, definitely, 100%. Yeah.
Because that's very important. Because
in fact, we are very, very close to Mr. Luciano Benetton's heart, the guy who created it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Wonderful. Rajesh, before you give the excuse of being too premium, I just have a quiz for everybody. Hermes as a brand, I think, is the most luxurious brand, or most expensive, we can say. I never bought anything. I've been gifted a couple of pocket wears and
You are lucky.
Right?
I would love to have those kind of friends who can gift me Hermes.
No, I think I would like to believe that in their target consumer planning, when they do, my name will appear on that. And I still haven't bought anything from them. Still, they do around 20 billion euro business.
So see,
so that
if
excuse of being premium will not.
No, certainly not. So let me tell you, so I completely believe that India is ready for that $1 billion, and several of them, because we have the right
India
recipe right now.
aapki baat kar rahe hain.
So I'll come back to me also. But I feel that if you're talking about within India, having a brand which has currently, let's say, anything above 5,000 rupees as ASP, it's very difficult to grow significantly staying within India. When you were talking about 100 crores brand in early 2000 or late 90s, today I don't think there is any brand in the country, any single brand in the country who would have crossed 1,000 crores, which is above 5,000 rupees of ASP. To grow to that $1 billion, to grow very big, one needs to go outside India. It can't remain within India, because all said and done, end of the day, Indian customer definitely is aspirational, but at the same time our GDP, our per capita income, which again is a misnomer. When you look at the per capita income, it also includes the top 1% income. which takes care of a lot of other incomes in that. So if you look at the real income of the real Indians, it's not as high that they can have on a regular basis, they can continue to buy 5,000 rupees plus or 6,000 rupees plus brands. There are aspirational customers, but again, the base is not as large that it can make any brand as big as $1 billion within India. So one has to go overseas. Even our brand, globally, we are about 3 billion euros. Within India, it's a very small percentage of that. So in order to make a premium or a luxury brand grow, they have to go outside India also. If it's an Indian brand I'm talking about.
No, understood, absolutely. And I think that's where the, let's say, finding that customer, because most of the luxury and the premium brands, they have built business globally. They found it in Japan,
of course.
In fact, in America, then in Japan, then in China, and that's how they built it. Just, but in terms of ambition point of view, just 2020, 2019, 20, no, other than Sabyasachi, there was no designer who was more than 100 crores. We are in 2026, we just started in 2026. There are at least 15 I know, which have crossed 100 crores in sale. See, that's where somewhere the tipping point comes in. So Tarun Tilyani was just 70 crores 4 years back. Today is 250 crores.
Correct.
So I think in the next 5 years going to be 1,000. And he has not, let's say, reduced the prices, he increased the prices. So I think there is a consumer, and sometimes the people who have been even working with these people for last 30 years, right? And they just been hesitating. And that's why, like I put in on a presentation to him as well as to the team there, is they are the one single word. And I said that I can't say it in English because it will not impact. What's the problem? Darpok. So I put it in Hindi कि आप लोग डरपोक हैं, right? डर रहे हैं सिर्फ just because कि मतलब why the hell somebody is paying you 12 lakhs for lehenga, right? That's a lot of money. If you just convert it into 500 rupee, no, it'll take a bloody day.
And you have to wait for 6 months to get that lehenga.
Exactly. So why can't it be 15? Because you are only selling that much. You only sell 50 of those things, and then the OTT and other things happen. So I think within India also on the premium side of also, I think we will see brands at ASP of 500. I think people like whether it's a Rare Rabbit or whether it's Andaman and some of the ones which are just coming from behind. I'll do a round neck t-shirt, 69 rupees. I was giving an example at Shoppers Stop, which became 89, and it was like shocking in early 2000. Today, March tea and drums and all, they are selling it for 1,500, 2,000 rupees. Black, plain, nothing. They say it's like water repellent. What the hell? Why do I need a water repellent t-shirt? Kya hone wala hai? Right? But they are selling and people are buying.
So Harminder, when you talked in the beginning that you had talked about our brands going global, and Rahul Bhai went and told you, you had asked me exactly the same question once on a different panel a long time back. Right. And I had told you that yes, there is definitely a possibility that Indian brands will go global. Right. And I had given you the examples of F&B at that time, Haldiram and Bikaner, they had already gone global. Similarly, a lot of Indian brands have that capability. Like if I look at some Indian brands, like say Da Milano, Being Human, they have gone and opened outside India. Despite them being sort of a Western brand, more inclined towards Western, and they are growing bigger day by day. But again, I would again say that within India, staying within India and making a premium brand very big is extremely difficult as we speak today. There is a right recipe. There is a consumer base, but that consumer base is not very large for premium segment as we speak today. That is growing. For sure it is growing. Second, we have the capability actually, if you look at the manufacturing side or the design side, we do have the capability to grow bigger there. And we have, the biggest part I think today what we have amongst all our entrepreneurs is confidence. That confidence was not there, as you rightly said about the being a darpok or something. That confidence was lacking, let's say, a decade ago. Today, a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to go global, they want to grow big, and they have the confidence to compete with those global brands. And that in future, I think maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see a lot of growth within India also.
Sure. Thank you.
I'd like to make a point.
Sure.
When it comes to brands going global, the generation which was in the 90s and the 2000s, we didn't think big, you know, because of our past or history or something. But the Gen Z and the millennials, they are definitely thinking very big. And with the disposable incomes, we definitely want to have an Apple phone or an Apple Watch or, you know, something that shows our aspirations without talking. That I have this, so you know where I am from. So definitely the new generation will think big and think global. Because we were taught, maybe Tarun Tahlani and Sabyasachi, they just took a risk and it worked. And when it comes to aspiration, we think aspiration only when it comes to wedding, because Pehenna hai Sabyasachi, hai na, or Tarun Tahlani. So we think only there. That was a segment that they were at the right place at the right time. And it clicked over. Yeah, exactly. And today they went global, there was no competition. But today's entrepreneurs, the new entrepreneurs, can take the risk to go global because the market is a global village. Your influencer can take your products to the world. You know, just invest on the good influencer and think of quality and sustainability and, you know, the trust, to get the trust in new brands. So we were thinking small, but today the generation is going to think big, and you can see a lot of brands going global. We have a brand called 1111, wherein I'm talking, even customers abroad are talking about it, because you just scan the barcode, the button, and it shows where even the yarn came from.
Right.
So the customer he sees the entire story of the garment. So the customer who's buying global also sees that there's nothing to hide. I see what I'm buying.
Right.
So that's where there was a time when consumers, global consumer, didn't want so much have confidence on the Indian brands, but today the brands are thinking big, that I have to reach the global customer, and so they are giving the quality. They are using influencers to reach to the next level. And the Gen Z is aspirational. You know, they want to have status. They may eat one time less, but they want to have the best. Yes. So let's take the risk. The new generations can build, you know, global brands.
Yeah. They don't eat breakfast for other reasons.
Yes.
To save money.
Yeah.
Venkat, coming to you. So my sense is that Indian brands will go global. Yes. And my sense in Indian brands, which are like more stuff which you are doing, they are the ones which will go global first and will be far more successful than the premium brands, because all the designer and some of the brands which we are talking about, I think they can't travel that much because of the product itself. There is a challenge. Yes, there are a few designers like Gaurav Gupta, etc. They are doing things which are global, but I think they travel. But I personally believe that some of the things which you are doing at Zudio, they are far more. Do you have plans to go global? Where your next billions are coming from? You've already done one.
The base, after the billion comes, you know, then your problem is that the base has to, you know, count.
Right.
The challenges are only steeper from there, Shaminder. So I do think, I completely agree with Maya. I don't see any reason why Indian brands can't go global.
Right.
I think we need to get out of this mentality of, we are big exporters, to we are brand owners and brand makers.
Right.
And the moment that shift happens in the headset of the people running businesses, I think that's the first step that we need to probably make to really build businesses of scale, where we are not playing as a commodity but playing as a brand.
Right.
So will it happen? I do think so. And is for instance Zudio already present in the Middle East? Yes. And do we see traction completely organic? Very much yes. Now, have we done enough? Not really. I really don't see a reason, Harminder, why we can't build significant scale outside India.
Yes.
And what is going to be interesting is what you're doing in India helps you do what you're going to be doing outside India. Right. And what you're going to be doing outside India is going to help back in what you're doing in India. Yeah. So there is going to be a flywheel of sorts. And I would prefer one more thought on this panel. I do think we're going to have multiple players. It's not going to be one name.
Oh, absolutely.
And the opportunity is not only to build Indian brands, but also build Indian brands which can continue to grow over a period of time and which continue to be profitable in a significant way. Right. So economics start working when some of these things start falling into place. Right. So if we start dreaming, I guess the opportunity exists.
True. Totally agree. I think some of these international power brands we talk about, whether it's let's say Zara, or whether it's Primark, or whether it's Uniqlo, I think founders are still around. Just imagine, it's a one generation what they have built, and they built out of the places which didn't even have the supply chain, which we have. So I think it's just a matter of believing and then going ahead and doing it. And such valuable, such fantastic business built in the same time while we have been doing whatever we've been doing. Yeah, Rahul bhai.
Just one thought. I feel that for Indian brands to go global, I think the work will need to be done not only by the brands, but also by the government or the country as a whole. When I talk of government, I'm not talking about subsidies and discounts and so on. But you see, one has to build the brand India before we start building a brand Zudio or a brand West Side or whatever, with due apologies. Because it's, you know, it's okay. We are all in Middle East. Frankly speaking, Middle East is an extension of the Indian market. It's only when you start getting into Europe, getting into the US, that we can truly say we are a global brand. And for that, the consumer there needs to have that confidence that here is a brand which comes from a base, comes from a source which is credible. See, today in India, anything that Tatas bring is a success, initial success. Then, of course, it depends on the product and so on. Because we have that trust in Tata. If anything that comes from France, we will assume that it is fashionable. Anything that comes from Japan, we will assume that it has good quality. Whereas, there was a time, many years ago, 50, 60 years ago, anything Japanese means it was rubbish.
Chinese.
You know, so I think that is an important thing that we as an industry and as a country will need to understand.
Right.
That it's not going to be possible by brands or companies alone. It has to be a concerted effort.
So it'll be great to have, and I think that enabling, let's say, the umbrella cover, let's say we get that, I think that'll be great, but otherwise I don't think many people even know that H&M is from Sweden. People don't know that, and I don't think people even know Lacoste was a tennis player and they're buying the crocodile. So I think brands can, and I think that's where sometimes why Rahul Bhai I'm saying is that in this room and forum and not correcting you, but just adding to the point that the companies and the brands, they need to have that self-belief that in spite of that or without that also, there is a way in which can be done. And that's why I made the point even Benetton for that. But the first generation is still around. And within that, they built it. And how many people even know? Most of the consumer is Gen Z. They won't know these things. I don't know how many of your, yesterday you were saying 30% sale coming from people below 30. Kitno ko pata hai ki tennis player tha koi? I don't think so. And they are still buying, and they were paying 8,500, he said, for the t-shirt.
No, I think, Harminder, storytelling is extremely important for brands. So storytelling, emotional connect, consistency, trust, those are extremely important for the brands. And to answer your question that kitno ko pata hai, we like to believe that we communicated to the customers, our segment of customers, quite regularly about these things, and many of our customers would know about the history of the brand. We invented Polo. The Polo that all the other brands have started taking, that was invented by Lacoste. The logo that appeared outside the chest, that was the first time that a Lacoste garment had a logo outside the chest in a documented history. So these are interesting facts, and that is storytelling extremely important to build the brand. And as Rahul Bhai also rightly said, and you said that, we have to start that storytelling for India as a whole, India as a country. It can't be that anything coming from France only is fashionable or coming from Japan only is quality. It has to be India's story also, and we have to build that brand India for fashion industry as well.
I would like to just add one more point here, that today a lot of global consumer is also looking at brands at how sustainable and circular you are. Because it's all about giving back to the nature, you know, that you are responsible. You're also, you know, you are a brand and you're also globally responsible for the climate, for things. So as much as sustainable, every brand should have a sustainable collection. I myself, I'm a part of a bamboo federation, and we are globally promoting bamboo fabrics. Or, you know, all of us have to take that little step ahead to do that. We are responsible. India as a whole, we are conscious of the planet, and we are giving back. So it's a role of it's a responsibility of every brand to be certainly sustainable. And then a lot of us not talking about circularity. We are only bothered about our first sales. After that service, to pucho hi nahi. Kuch hota tha, we just don't back out. But that's bad. Then after our first sale, we have to also talk about how to reuse, repair, recycle. All of this should be a mandatory for every brand, and that's when the world will look at us. It's very clear. Because we can't be putting clothes as landfills, you know. So when a brand is conscious that I have made something, and so like he said, snitch. He doesn't have big showrooms, but the thing is doing is he's saying that after 2 wears, you can send me back the shirt. I will buy it back and give you a new pair. So he's engaging the customer. Also, he's somewhere being responsible. So he's playing it smart.
Right.
You know, so maybe he's not giving a Zara-like experience, but he's somewhere being noticed by the consumer that, अच्छा 2 बार पहन लिए, तो मैंने जाके वापस करना है.
True.
So that's how you engage the customer. So this is something missing in our brands.
No, very valid, and I think this trend is only becoming bigger and bigger with time. Yeah. Any closing remarks? You didn't get much chance.
Yeah, I think we are one of those foolish small brands who have the ambition to go global.
Everyone was, each one of them, one day.
So from the beginning, our approach has been that we want to build a global brand. In fact, we haven't launched in India. We only sell to customers abroad. So I really agree to your point that our Indian brands, high quality brands like Westside, have been a little conservative, you know, and we already have the manufacturing base, but we need to make sure that we bring the highest quality product.
Right.
Why we buy Uniqlo is because what they make, nobody else in India is offering, right? So we need to have those kind of products go abroad. And the second opportunity is that there is already a brand in India. We have so many crafts. We have so many, you know, for example, Banarsi silk, brocade. You see them with designers having blazers made of brocade, etc. But we don't have brands who are doing that at scale and selling it abroad.
Right.
So there are those pockets of opportunities. I do think that brands need to be more ambitious from India and lead the wave to take them abroad.
Yes.
I think there is an ecosystem which is supporting it. You know, the government is offering drawbacks, this, that. Yes, it is difficult in terms of logistics, but brands need to push for it, and the push has to come from private sector.
Absolutely. Yes, Rahul bhai.
Just a classic case of a brand telling a successful story. She just mentioned that Uniqlo sells so many things which nobody else does. I think 80 to 90% of what Uniqlo sells is being available and sold and marketed and manufactured in India.
Yeah.
But here is a brand which has told a story.
Absolutely.
That we have something unique.
True.
So that is a classic case of a brand telling a story and the importance of storytelling.
But I do think there is a factor of the product quality, the fits, etc., which you will not be able to match with other, you know, a Uniqlo quality, the fits and the fabrics, etc. I don't think any brand is matching in India.
I don't think it's a task which is very impossible. Yes, they have some patented ones, some exclusive fabrics which they have, but they also created those because they wanted to stand out. And I think those suppliers in Japan or Taiwan, they are available to all of us. Do we have the ambition to create those fabrics and garments or not? I think point is very right. The brands need to be more ambitious. We have done a great job so far. Any questions? We have just room for one question. Maybe I'll give it to her. Anybody can pass on the mic to her quickly.
Hello, I'm representing the European flax linen industry, so thank you for quoting linen jacket. My question is it the same in retail for women's fashion and men's fashion or not? Because you were talking like it's the same. But from my point of view, coming often in India, it looks really different on men's fashion and women's fashion. I don't know if Biba or anyone can answer.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Because you were talking about fashion globally. Huh?
Yeah.
But from what I see coming from abroad is that in India, it's really different if you're talking about men's fashion or if you're talking about women's fashion. And I wanted to hear you about this. Do you?
So I think the point is that our women's fashion here looks very, very Indian.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have a perfect answer for that. In fact, you know, we started this initiative in our office about a year and a half back, where we said that today to take a brand truly global, firstly, we've erased the word ethnic wear from our organization. We don't use the word ethnic wear. We don't call ourselves an ethnic wear brand. We are calling ourselves an Indian wear brand. So what an Indian wear brand is today, we are taking global silhouettes, like for something like today you're wearing, which is like a printed in maybe a leopard print, something like that. We are now infusing that with Indian crafts. Like today, a similar silhouette will be with a Bandhani print or Banarsi, what Shweta also suggested. So you're going to see over the years, like you would have seen in the case of Prada, where, they launched a Kolhapuri chappal, right? So that's Indian fashion, technically fused with Western silhouettes, right? So I think you'll see a lot of those brands coming in which will call themselves Indian wear, where we might make a global product which is more global in nature. Everybody will be able to wear it, but it'll have some sort of roots from India, like maybe the print, maybe the embroidery. A lot of international brands like Dolce & Gabbana and a lot of other brands who use a lot of embroideries in their dresses are actually all Indian embroideries, and they have a specific name as well. They're using a lot of art and craft. Unfortunately, not a lot of Indian wear brands are doing that, because we feel that the India story is still so new. I think our retail is 10 to 15 or 20 years old, where people have started moving to brands, etc. I think we're still in that phase where we have to glamorize our own brands here in India. Only then the world will look at it like that. I think we're still talking more about Zara, Uniqlo. I think we need to do it, but I think we need to say brands like Snitch are the next Zara for the world, right? So I think we're in that journey where that just started. In the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see multiple stores in Europe or the US of Indian brands. And also going global has multiple definitions, right? We feel going global is not just about going to Europe and opening a store, right? We come from a digital era where already we launched our US website and a UK website last year, and it's growing phenomenally. And the global product that I'm talking about, we are seeing interest from people, locals over there, not just Indians as well. So I think it's just the beginning. This conversation is going to change in the next 5 to 7 years, and hopefully we'll take India to the globe.
Absolutely.
But to answer her question, that in India, men's fashion and women's fashion seem to be different. Yes, thankfully, Indian men have not yet started wearing women's clothing. So I think that is the difference.
No, in fact, I will tell you from the global perspective, when we see market outside India, especially the Western market.
This is overtime, so be careful.
Okay. Okay, just quickly let me tell you that typically what happens in case of Indian men, they were able to adopt Western fashion very fast because it provides the freedom of movement, it provides relaxed elegance. That's what we especially take pride in our brand. On the contrary, if you look at the Indian women, they want to make their own statement. As Rahul Bhai was also mentioning, everyone was mentioning that we have a very rich heritage where women have originally also been very fashionable, unlike men. So because of that, you still continue to see the differentiation between Indian men's wear and Indian women's wear.
Okay, you can take it offline, please. We are over time. So thank you very much, everybody on the panel. So thanks for being the lovely audience. We had great time discussing amongst ourselves. I hope it was worth your while as well. Thank you.